But in terms of a story I want to see, my number one request is that the structure of Frontiers, of Sonic helping his friends move forward in life, needs to be done for Shadow the Hedgehog. After a decade plus of ludicrous mandates that have reduced Shadow to being a shell of what he used to be, and especially with Sonic Movie 3 going to adapt Shadow's story from Sonic Adventure 2, this is the perfect time to bring back the Shadow the Hedgehog fans love. Well, that was a quick turnaround. The number one story I have wanted for this franchise, and in less than 2 years, it happened. Now, even a few weeks removed from playing Shadow Gens for the first time, I can't stop thinking about both the hype and emotional moments, but how cathartic and validating it was to see a dream story delivering everything I could ask for and more. Let's dive into the spoilers for Shadow Generations. You have been warned. When Ian Flynn was officially brought on to write for the games, how Shadow is in this game is what I've been dreaming of for the longest time. When I was getting into the Archie comics in my teen years, I was reading arcs like Shadowfall and Shadow Saga, and seeing how well written the character was, really letting his empathy but also confidence shine through. I've been wanting a game that brought this version of Shadow to the forefront, and I could not be happier with what they've done with Shadow for this game. That he gets closure with Gerald and Maria, getting to explore the more emotional aspects of the character, being able to take his anger, which I always felt was something that he buried, and they used really well in the narrative for this story and how he was able to conquer that. They just nailed the tenets of this character. This is the best dialogue he's had. Lines like, "There is no future for you ever" to Mephilles is so cold-blooded, I love it. But then you get the moments where he's smiling with Maria or to Big. You get to see the charm of this character really shine through. When he fights Sonic and him saying that I'm gonna beat him on equal terms or not at all, showing how smart he is throughout the game, like being able to do the okie doke with the fake Chaos Emerald. When he meets Maria and Gerald again, not reacting emotionally, but really processing and wanting to do his best to see, wait, can I change things? Can I save them? And for him to just be able to get closure and say goodbye to them one last time, and now be on a path forward where he can grow and do new stories that push him even further, I could not be happier. When he tells Maria that I'm gonna fight with your wish in my heart, and I get the implication that it's not just the happiness of others he is fighting for, he now gets to pursue happiness for himself too. It's about damn time for that. And wherever they go with Shadow in the future, I am ready for stories with this level of characterization. Gerald Robotnik. Oh my god, the journal entries. I think that's gonna end up being its own video, honestly, because there is so much that you learn about Gerald, the Robotnik family, the Biolizard origins, Emerald and the Gizoids, but more than anything, how tragic his story is. Like, I always felt that Gerald Robotnik got hoed by the circumstances around him, but you really understand the tragedy of this character. When he's talking about how much he loves Maria, he calls Maria his legacy. When she died and everything on the arc fell apart, that he lost his mind because she was his guiding light, and without it, he lost everything. But also the stuff you learn about the family, that he had 2 sons, one loved robotics, one loved archaeology, and you go, okay, the one that loved robotics is Eggman's dad, and which is just a cute fun fact. But then the conversations you get with Maria too, and she has a sister? There is an alive, like, late 40s or early 50s relative of Maria out there in the world? I can't wait to meet her and see what she's like and how she's going to interact with the gang. If there's one thing that I really love that they've done since Flynn has been writing for the games, I love the way that they've expanded the Robotnik family and bloodline, because there is so much more to the name Robotnik than just Eggman, Gerald, and Maria, and we're really getting to see that. But yeah, for Gerald, I just feel bad for the man. Like, the entire time when I'm reading the journal entries and him in the game talking about the Faustian deal he made and the regrets that he had in life, I think of one of my favorite lines from Handsome Jack in Tales from the Borderlands, where he says the classic line of "The road to hell is paved with good intentions," but Jack adds, "and the ones you love litter the roadside." That's the path for a lot of villains. It was the path for Gerald, and it was really tragic to see, but it made me appreciate the character so much more. Props to Evan Stanley too for the artwork she did on the journal. There are some images when you see the scribbled writing and the madness of Gerald that is straight up haunting. And speaking of haunting, Black Doom. It is still surreal that Black Doom has relevance in 2024, that they brought him back, that he got to be this cool, menacing presence throughout the game. Like when you realize that the eyes on the Black Moon are staring you down the entire time you're in white space, and you just have that unsettling feeling that you're always being watched, the way that he's hijacking levels and constantly talking to Shadow, and you find out his master plan, he doesn't even care about Shadow. He just views Shadow as an avatar and a body for his master plan to take over the world, and his evil and menace was so damn good in this game. And the entire time I was playing the game, I'm like, okay, we know it's a new voice actor for Black Doom, and he's doing a great job. The second I saw Ben Diskin, I'm like, oh, of course, they got Venom from Spectacular Spider-Man. Of course Black Doom sounds great in this game. Ben Diskin and the cast overall, by the way, killed it, did such a good job. Now, this is a character that I think people have been talking about a little less, and I understand because this game just does so much for Shadow, Maria, Gerald, and Black Doom, but my god, I love Rouge the Bat in this game. To really see how endearing she is, to see that softer side of her character, how much she truly does care about Shadow. Like the simple act in Dark Beginnings in the beginning of this game, of her just wanting him to go to Sonic's birthday party, to push him out of his comfort zone and get him to open up a little bit. But then the side conversations when you talk with her and Omega has some hilarious lines of dialogue. Omega is great in this game. When she's talking about how, look, cherish the time you have with the Professor and Maria. Really value the time that you're getting with them now. I loved seeing that her heart is in the right place. If the excitement that people have had for Dark Beginnings is anything to go by, hopefully we get a lot more great Team Dark excellence in the years to come. Oh my god, the dialogue for Big the Cat. Like, okay, so this was one of the few things that I was spoiled on before the game came out, which is not a problem. I'm kind of numb to spoilers. And I was going, look, if they find a way to get Big the Cat in this game, I'm excited to see what they do and where they go, because it's just awesome to me to see a character that got so relentlessly shit on and memed for years have this complete 180 where everyone gets excited to see Big now whenever he shows up. His NPC lines are amazing. Him asking for Shadow to teach him chaos control to help with fishing, but then immediately going, wait, no, that would make fishing too easy. You know what? Never mind, I'm good. Like, he goes through the full thought process, talking about how, hey, I ran into Gerald and Maria and they seem really nice. I'd like to fish with them someday. And then the craziest one where he's like, oh yeah, by the way, me and Froggy went to Soliana and we met Elise. Like, okay, that's the reasoning why he's in front of the Kingdom Valley gate, but it's just like, that is madness. But that's awesome. I love how they're using Big and how he's essentially the comfort character for everyone. Like, he feels like the person that everyone in the cast just goes to vent. They all enjoy it when he's there. I mean, Shadow smiled for Maria and for Big. So that just shows to you how much this cast of characters really appreciates Big, and I do too. Mephilles. Oh my god, Mephilles. They did so much justice to this character, it is insane. The angle of it was so good. The idea that Mephilles remembers every loss and defeat, that he's been trapped in this plane of non-existence going, I had the world in the palm of my hand with Solaris and I got punked by some sparkly hedgehogs, man. And the way that Robbie Damon plays with the despair of the character and how angry he is. And then with Shadow beating him and him just screaming, I want to exist. Like, damn. Now, granted, I don't feel sympathy for him because this man impaled Sonic and is an eldritch monster that wants everything to be annihilated and destroyed. But the Sonic 06 fans ate with Shadow Generations. Like, with Kingdom Valley and what they did with Mephilles, very impressed. They did an excellent job. And then one little quick tidbit I wanted to mention about Radical Highway. I really like the decision that that was the final level, because when Shadow goes to Radical Highway before in Sonic Adventure 2, he was a different person then. That's when he had vengeance, anger, and hatred in his heart. But now, after he reaffirms his wish to Maria and screams out all of that anger, now he's going through Radical Highway, but it's with the right mission, with the right mindset, and now he's able to fly through it. Like, I see all of the symbolism that they were doing with that moment, so I just wanted to call that out here because I thought that was really good. Then we end the game with a Devil Doom final boss, a new Neo Devil Doom form, and an orchestral version of All Hail Shadow by Crush 40. And I was surprised because I thought for sure going into this game that the final boss theme was going to be some rendition or remix of I Am All of Me, but I really respect the choice to go with All Hail Shadow instead because the lyrics of that song really hit for the story and journey that Shadow goes through in this game. Nothing can stop you now, nothing to bring you down, there's nothing left to lose, found the meaning that you've searched for so long. Those hit much harder after what Shadow goes through in this game, as well as it being a phenomenal rendition with the orchestral elements. So phenomenal job as always from Crush 40. It's great to have them back. And that final cutscene, man. I was holding it together throughout most of the game. There were a few moments that got me misty, but I was able to keep them in check. But man, when that tear went back, if he's crying, I'm crying. Like, that's how this works. If Shadow can cry, then I can cry, because that was such a beautiful moment. And I like that that's where the story just ends. We know that Shadow is there for the rest of Sonic Generations, and he goes to the birthday party. No post-credit scene, they just let that moment be what it is and end on that great emotional note. I love that the story that I've been waiting for my whole life, the number one that I've wanted for this franchise, happened. It was executed so well, and I'm excited for more stories of this caliber. Ian Flynn, Sonic Team, the lore team, y'all did a phenomenal job with this. This is a story that I am always going to cherish, and now I just want the great characterization that Shadow got for this story to happen for everyone else. I want Blaze and Silver to get character moments like this. I want the new characters that they're clearly planning and building up to get great emotional moments like this. And I'm excited for what we have looking forward. But that's all from me. Let me know down below, what was your favorite story moment in Shadow Generations? And what would you like to see for your dream Sonic story? Considering we just got this, I'm going to have to think about what the next one is for me personally. But let me know what yours is. Thank you for watching. Love y'all. Have a blessed one. And I will see you next week.